National Fire Radio.
This episode's brought to you by Notorious Fire Company. Firefighter owned and operated, Notorious Fire Company manufactures and creates quirky and unique items for the fire service. Whether it's your stainless steel water bottles, tumblers, 4-in-1 koozies, you can decorate your emotional support water bottle with more than 100 different designs they offer so very much. From apparel to swag to stickers, they got you covered. Check them out at notoriousfire.com. That's Notorious, notoriousfire.com. And check them out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Notorious Fire. And this month with the podcast, if you use coupon code Fire Radio June 2023, that is Fire Radio June 2023, you'll get free shipping on all orders within the U.S. So check them out, notoriousfire.com. Lenny and the crew, they're making great stuff. And I have to tell you, with the summer upon us, the sticker packs are out of control. You got everything from Star Wars to pinups and everything in between. Slap them on your beer fridges, your coolers, and your tumblers, and celebrate the summer in style with Notorious Fire. A good supporter and longtime friend. We're happy to have him on the podcast with us. Check him out, notoriousfire.com, and coupon code FIRERADIO June 2023 for free shipping all across the U.S. This episode's brought to you by Box Alarm Grills. When your apparatus arrives on scene, are you making the best showing? Looking to set your rig apart from everyone else? Want your engine, truck, or rescue to be easily identifiable? There is a solution. With large aluminum grill numbers and full-width rear mud flaps from Box Alarm Grills. Formed by Danny and a team of fellow firefighters, Box Alarm Grills gets it. They know what it means to show pride in your ride, delivering the quality construction and design that fire departments demand. That's why their grill numbers and mud flaps grab attention, enhance visibility, and make your fleet recognizable on scene while responding or just driving around town. Built in the USA by a family-owned business, Box Alarm Grills is quickly becoming the choice of fire companies, apparatus planners, and fire truck manufacturers with out-of-the-box or custom solutions. Check out functional, durable grill numbers and mud flaps from Box Alarm Grills today at boxalarmgrills.com and on Facebook and Instagram. And like Danny and his crew like to say, add pride to your ride.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 22 of the Size Up by National Fire Radio. As always, I'm your host, Pip, and this is a very special episode for a lot of reasons. The number one reason is this episode is being sponsored by my good friends at Modus Fire Rescue. They are just innovating products left and right, whether it be forcible entry tools, bags. There may be some fitness products in the works from them, and maybe even some crossover fitness products that do fitness and tactical, I'm making air quotes for those of you listening, type things that you can do in the fire service or really all emergency services. And I think what makes it so cool, and the fact that they sponsored this episode, is I also met my guest through Modus Fire Rescue. This is not the Size Up's first international guest, but this is definitely the first guest on the Size Up. And I want to go out and say from National Fire Radio, probably too, who is located in an amazing country that, again, in the way this world works, folks, I happened to book a trip to about a week and a half before I even met the folks from Modus, Iceland. So my good firefighter friend and my new best friend and hopefully Iceland tour guide when I'm there in November, Omar, welcome to the Size Up, man. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm great. How are
Awesome.
you?
Omar was featured. If you go on Modus Fire Rescue, if you search them up on YouTube, they have a bit of a Modus Fire TV, and they did an amazing 10-minute episode of their show that featured Omar, and it really piqued my interest because of his story. So, Omar, can you just let everybody in a little bit about yourself, you know, what you do, and we'll kind of go from there, I guess.
Okay. First off, thanks for meeting me up here, because the video with Modus wasn't really my idea, because I was hosting making a contest. We'll talk later about that. and I couldn't find anyone who was willing to do the video, so I ended up hosting my like they ended up like asking if I had a story. So I'm a 43-year-old firefighter and EMT in Iceland. I have 3 boys, age 4, 7, and 10, and a dog.
Never
And
forget the dog, man, and a wife.
yeah,
Don't
and
forget
a
the wife.
dog, a
That would be
wife.
really
Yeah,
bad if you forgot her.
I thought I started with that. So yeah.
It's all right, man.
But
I have a wife too, and
yeah,
sometimes
yeah, it's true.
so.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, and uh, mostly what I do now is just work and time with the family. But I have in the past I've been doing a lot of different things. Um, I was training CrossFit and teaching CrossFit and lifting. I had some companies importing supplements. I did like music events. I was a DJ. There's like a lot of stuff, but today I would describe myself just like not just I am a father and a firefighter and AMT. That's mostly what I do.
I was wondering too, and in watching your video, it seemed like you started your career a little later in life. I think you said in the video where
Yeah,
you
35. Yeah,
35. Yeah. So that
yeah.
so here in New Jersey, that is our age limit to take the test. You could actually start a little bit older than that if you have military time or things
Hmm.
like that. But I was a little fortunate, I guess I started at 25. So
Hmm.
and it's not what I'm learning now that I will be 45 this year is firefighting is definitely a young man's game.
Yeah, it is. But I think if I would have started like at 20, I would have thought like at 25, 6, there's something else I must try or do. So I think maybe I should have started like maybe around 28 or 9. Then I was starting to think that what I learned, which was I'm an electronic technician.
Okay.
So I was in like repairing and setup and everything in different different jobs. But at that point, I was like, I didn't feel that fitted me, and I realized that uh, I probably don't have to work my whole career with what I decided to study when I was 15-year-old. so so maybe I had to push myself out of that rut, and
We're definitely seeing that here in America in the fire
mm,
service, where more people who are, I don't want to call them older, but let's say in their early
mhm,
30s or late 20s, early 30s are deciding to join the fire service like you did,
mhm,
because maybe they're saying the same thing that, just because I decided in high school I wanted to go this path, it's not
mhm.
really for me, or they've tried a lot of things and that leads them to the fire service. Do you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
maybe a little bit how you ended up here?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I didn't really consider firefighting because nobody is a firefighter or an EMT in my family. So it wasn't really in the radar. But if I would have thought of it earlier, I would have applied earlier. Either in we don't have a military in Iceland. We have police, and they just I don't they don't carry guns. They have guns which they have to get permission to access if there's something special going on. But usually they don't carry a weapon. But we are like in NATO, so we don't have any military or anything like that. But I forgot the original question, but I think the parts of being a firefighter, I decided when I was 35, I was at a crossroads where I was had been training CrossFit for 3 years, and um, I had to change paths. So I realized that I have to find the work which is something I would do if I had like lots of money in the bank, and I would do it anyways. So, of all the jobs that I could apply for here, it was the fire department, not the police or Coast Guard, which would be in the range as well. Um, but there's something I don't know. It depends on how you think it. So some people go into the firefighting because they think it's cool or whatever. But for me, it's more like using my experience and my knowledge and my interests for something better than like for something for others, to be useful in the community.
Yeah, and you said that too in your video because I have it written down in my notes from it too about that usefulness. And
Hmm.
I never really I don't guess I've never really used that word to describe what it is that we do for our community, but I think that's the best because we are useful for our community. I mean, they call us for a really
or
interesting
whatever.
whatever, right? Okay, you're doing the
Yeah.
same thing. Like my
I mean,
toilet is running. There's a cat in my wall. There's,
yeah. I mean, they call the fire department. You show up and you are him. There's nobody you call except maybe to tear down the building or clear the road or something, but you are it. So you have to figure out solutions. And that's kind of probably the way like I was in like electronic technicians, and I did some sport events and music events, and it's always like you have to figure out the problem. And when you're a problem solver, I think this kind of job is very suitable because you're always in a different situation. Both in the ambulance and the fire service, you show up somewhere and you have to just figure out what to do, even if it's to transport a patient that can't move, like down some tight stairs or whatever, or you need to like you have to think quickly, but you can't hurry up, in all
Yeah, it's a
the
great way to
projects you
put it,
show
right?
up.
We have to
Yeah,
think
no,
very quickly, but we can't go fast all the time.
yeah, you can't hurry up, you have to be cool, calm, collective, and then you have to be decisive at the same time. So it's something you have to I mean, you are like the people you surround yourself with the most. But so you have to, if you're not growing like you want to, you have to put yourself in a place where there are people you want to look like.
Yeah, no, and
If you
that's a
can
great
say.
part of the fire service, right? When you're trying to do that, and you do have a
Yeah.
lot of like-minded people, because unlike other jobs where, it's very individualized, we do everything kind of together. And what
Hmm.
you see over time in the emergency services is that when you try to do something on your own, it generally doesn't work. But when the
Hmm.
team does everything together, you're able to move forward, correct?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And you also have to worry about, because in the fire department there's like all different kind of people, and many of them are complacent, and they don't want to grow, and they complain if there's changes and everything's somebody else's fault, and it's the same for like
It's the same
catchphrases all over.
In Iceland, a place where the police don't carry guns and you don't have a military. And you said
Hmm.
this in the Modus video, but you still have firefighters that are complacent and don't like change. It's not just a unique American problem, is what you're talking
That's I mean the fire service in Europe and America is very different in many ways, but you get the same type of characters wherever you go. So you get the hardest people who want like the challenges and everything. But if the team doesn't push you, those people will eventually go do something else. So if you feel like you get complacent in a like work like fire department, uh, it's I mean, there's always three things you can do. You can either change the way things are, which can be either to fix something that's wrong, or suggest something that could be better. So you can always do three things. You can change things. You can accept the way they are if you're not able to change them, or you can just leave. And there's many people that don't try to change things. They can't accept the things they are, and they don't leave. They just complain, and that's not the people you want to have. And it's kind of hard to get fired from the fire department. So you have some people that are there for 20 years that maybe they should have go
Maybe
done
they should
something
have went
else.
somewhere really early. You should have
Yeah,
realized this was not for you.
yeah. But then
It's
there are
hard.
people, yeah, then there are people that want to change things, and they do change things, and they usually climb up the ladder pretty quickly and become off. I don't know what ranks you have there, officers or whatever. It's So they get to climb up the stairs, and if you show initiative, and you show you can take responsibility, you get more projects because you're able to take them. There's a quote, I forgot where I heard it is: if you want something done, ask a busy person. So
I'll
so
take that. Never heard that one before.
yeah, if you're that busy person in the team, and you're always suggesting things for changes, of course, not all ideas get moved forward, and if you get hit walls, and sometimes you see that, okay, this idea maybe doesn't fit, but at least you're trying to move it forward. Then sometimes you can get someone else to do it, or you can see that, okay, this is not going to change, and I'm going to accept that. And if you accept the things that are wrong, that are probably not going to change, or they're not up to you, or you can ignore them without affecting your job, then just do what you can, accept the rest, and keep on. I mean,
It's a great attitude to have, right? Because when we talk about change, what we talk about is people always want like grand change. And because you've done CrossFit and you're into fitness, something that I've been a huge part of here in the States.
mhm,
People want change with fitness. Like, I want a fitness program and a gym in every firehouse, and I want
yeah,
people to have to work out 2 hours a day.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I want this, and I want this
yeah,
person to come in, and I'm like, why
yeah.
don't
And they
you
want,
just?
and also they want that pill you can take and
And they
just
want
get
the pill
fit,
that's gonna.
right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the pill.
it's just going to change you like that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think you even see. I want to talk about consistency, but now we're on change. But that same thing with change, where you're like, I want this change in the fire service. I want this. I want that. You have to start small, right? And the
Yeah.
smallest change you can do is starts with you, of course, obviously, but to create that, and you have to celebrate that small change. And like for fitness, it's kind of something you said with consistency when you were coaching.
Hmm.
People come in and I want, well, you use kilos, right? You use kilos or pounds? Kilos,
Yeah,
right?
kilos. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, I want 150 kilo snatch. And I'm like,
Hmm.
why
Hmm.
don't you just learn to snatch the barbell first? And you said in
Yeah,
your Modus video, just show up 3 days a week,
yeah.
right? If
Hmm.
you can get that consistency, you're doing great. And I've had
Yeah.
so many people approach me online. I want to run a 5K.
Hmm.
I always give them this challenge, and it's funny. It's a buddy of mine who hosted a podcast called the Big Red Express. He ran 1 mile a day for 30 days, and he actually started walking it, and then he started running. And I give people that challenge all the time. And by about day 8, they're like, "This is amazing. I'm gonna start doing burpees while I run." And I'm like, no, 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 no,
Hmm.
no. That's not the
Hmm.
point.
Hmm. Hmm.
The point is
Yeah,
1 mile a day,
yeah,
30 days in a row. That's all you
yeah.
have to do. And
James Clear, Atomic Habits. Read it
yep.
if you haven't.
Which one is it?
Atomic Habits after James Clear.
Okay.
It's a book that everybody must read. It's exactly what you're saying. It's just small habits you can do consistently and don't overreach in the first step.
And
And
that's
all,
changed in the fire service, right? You can't say like we're gonna go to this
yeah.
crazy thing way, way, way over here without
Hmm.
taking the first steps to get there, right?
It would not be good to change the fire service like completely. It has to progress slowly, and you have to understand that. And it's gonna take time, and you have to be patient with a lot of stuff. But uh, it's gonna. I mean, right now we are changing the way we work, the shifts, because in Europe they're trying shortening the work week,
Okay.
and in some
Kind of hard to do
countries,
for us.
I know it
You have to
sucks.
be there
That's
all
a,
the time. We can't
yeah,
make less time.
I know it's a huge change, but some countries like Norway and Sweden, I think other Scandinavian countries, they uh, signed this deal with I don't know, European Union something thing, uh, where they excluded a few services, including fire services, where they don't have to apply to these shortening of work week thing. So they can actually work like 24-hour shifts or 48-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts like we did. But now they screwed it all up, and they are
Yeah.
trying to implement this new system, which is way more complicated, and it changes the way they calculate salaries. We had to change from 4 shifts to 5 shifts, and we're working all different time of or different kinds of shifts, and it has a lot of problems, and there are a lot of people who are not accepting it, and the way they implemented it was probably not the best way to implement it, although I don't know what would be a better solution, but it didn't create more satisfaction, and we see people are getting more tired with this setup and are changing careers or thinking about it, which is a pity, because I think like you said, we can't like
Can't do it. Yeah, you can't not be there. We work. I'm really fortunate where I work here in New Jersey. We have a 4 platoon system, and we work 24 hours on, 72 hours off.
Sounds good.
It's really good. We've always been, so in the late 60s, we went from 3 platoons to 4 platoons. And we used to work, when I got hired, we worked like a 10s and 14 schedule. So 10-hour days, 14-hour nights, which was good, but we now switched and made it a little more streamlined to the 24/72. But that's not the most popular shift in the United States fire service. More people work 24 hours on, 48 hours off. And then as we learn, and as you know, sleep is such an important part of our lives, of our health, our wellness, our recovery. And the folks that are working the 24/48 schedule are just never getting a restful night's sleep, where at least on the 24/72, I have that extra night at home that's allowing me to hopefully get a good night's sleep. How is that kind of affecting your schedule? Because it's kind of crazy. It sounds like you're going to.
Yeah, it was, we have we have the ambulance service as well.
Okay.
And that's probably 90% of the work. So it's hard to keep up the standards for education and like the team for firefighting. But when the fire comes up, and those events it's very challenging to sometimes everybody's out on an ambulance call when the big fire comes. And that can be really serious. We had a huge fire in a building which was illegal, like for it was a building that was changed for like immigrants or workers or something. There was a lot of people in a one building. It was not accepted. Like
so you would call that like a change of occupancy, but it was an illegal change of occupancy, probably, where they had too many people in one spot, right?
Yeah. Okay. Like greedy owner.
Yep, for sure.
So
we call them
there was a fire there.
here. They would be called a slumlord.
Yeah. And there was actually, it was like today everything's on video. You're always on video.
100%. Listen to that, kids, boys and girls. You are always on video.
Yeah, you're always on video. Yeah. So it was recorded like on phones and everything, and the response time was a little bit slower than it should have been. And the guy who showed up, the captain, he was the only one with experience on the fire truck, and he had 2 like new guys with him. So he eventually put on his scuba and went in himself with 2 unexperienced firefighters outside. And one like somebody in the house jumped from the window and fell down, and an ambulance with 2 new employees as well was close by, so they had to start resuscitation. And so it was kind of chaotic for a little bit, because everybody was out on an ambulance, and it was really bad. So we're always pressing with all the focus on fulfilling the ambulance service, which is of course very important. They don't have enough staff on the stations. We have 4 stations in the capital area.
Okay.
Like spread out, and the response time in the contract with these towns and the city, it's that we should be with, I think, 6 or 7 minutes with ambulance, about like maybe 8-9 minutes with fire truck or whatever. But yeah, we can't secure that with all the focus on ambulances, and then we have a lot of new employees to fill the gaps. It's kind of a tough situation right now, and it might be like rough for a few years, but
it always takes time to get over a hurdle like that. Now, everyone does everything. So you're a firefighter and an EMT. You have to ride on the ambulance. You have to work on the fire apparatus, correct? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you're 50 plus, you can what's it called? You can like just skip the ambulance.
Okay, so so when you're over 50 years old, or
yeah.
Okay,
but you're always
anymore.
No, there's always an ambulance at the station, so you go out like in emergencies, but you don't do like the transports and everything.
That's an interesting your years of age mean you don't have to do that part of the job anymore. Like so my department here, we don't run an ambulance, we run first responder EMS. So we are all EMTs. We have equipment, and we basically show up and say wait for the ambulance and do what we can, with bandages and oxygen, a defibrillator. That's about it. And the ambulance is coming is a very good line that we use. It's coming. They're coming. We'll help you until they get here. I can't do anything. I don't have an ambulance. We have a third service for it, which it depends on how your system works, because we could have engines on ambulance calls and a fire comes in, but we also try not to stretch ourselves that thin, so we still have apparatus for a fire if that was to come in. And it sounds like you guys are just stretched so thin, but how big of an area do you cover? Like, I know you're in the capital region because that's where I'm going on vacation in Reykjavik, right? Did I say that?
Yeah. First, also, like, I think 85, almost 90% of Icelanders live in the capital area. So you would think, that's a lot of people, but it's not. There are 360 or 70,000 people in the whole of Iceland, I think.
So, like, that's Manhattan pretty much.
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
It's right in there somewhere like that.
But it's spread out. It's not tall buildings, like spread out. But yeah, we're not that many, And I think 10% of Icelanders are foreign, like people that move here.
Okay.
So we're not that many. It's 280,000, I think, in the capital area.
So where we service. Here's a better question, or a different question. What happens in the outlying areas with the fire service? Is it all this, like, is it one country service, or do they have their own services out there?
It's always the area. It's either towns or like parts of the country that have the fire service.
Okay.
Like county or something.
Okay.
So there are like just four professional firefighting like teams in Iceland. It's one with the aluminum company in the East Iceland, one in Akureyri, which is the biggest town in North Iceland. Then near Keflavik Airport in Reykjanes, and then it's in Reykjavik capital area. Other are like volunteer firefighter teams.
Okay.
So many of them are either just working at the hospital and do ambulances, or are in the volunteer rescue service and also firefighter, and just whatever mix they're off. But the capital area is the biggest in all areas. So we have like 4 stations with different equipment. I'm also a rescue diver, and we have some are trained to like wilderness rescue, and we have like some boats around. We have mountain trucks. We have 6-wheel bikes. We have equipment for wildfires. It's a lot of different stuff. Something is divided in one station and another station, so it's kind of versatile.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys do everything from the Modus video that I watched. I was like, my kids want to get on that 6-wheel bicycle, like there's no, or 6-wheel ATV you had, like there's no. When they saw that, they're like, how come you don't have one of those? And I said, because we have more pavement than grass where I work. Really work for anything we need. But you guys you do water rescue with the Coast Guard, you said, and mountain rescue, and I guess ice rescue, right?
We do all kinds. We do like diving. We do we sometimes take with the Coast Guard if there's a fire, maybe, or a rescue on board of a ship or something, or in the mountains. And we have I mean everything. Also in like bad weathers, like we have equipment for that and stuff.
It seems like it's such a, you said in the video too, like you have like your landscape is constantly changing, right? And that, like, between ice, you mean, and the temperature, or just in general? I know you have volcanoes, so I know volcanoes, roadlands and things. So all of that is just stuff you have to be ready for, right?
I mean, we have earthquakes, like we often have earthquakes here, and
not in November, right? Not in November, right? There's no earthquakes in November.
I don't know. Maybe you'll experience it. If there's if there's a lot of earthquakes, usually it's a precursor to eruption, like volcano.
Cool. I'm going to, like, I think we're doing like an ice cave volcano excursion. So good to know we have
Yeah,
this is like an adventure. I knew this was going to be an adventure vacation. I didn't know it was going to be, the danger
yeah.
factor just keeps
I
rising
mean,
to Omar here.
but there was one you remember Eyjafjallajökull? Uh,
Come again?
Eyjafjallajökull?
Yep.
There was this volcano which erupted 2007 or 8 or something, and it just spewed ash all over Europe, and it just landed all the flights and everything. Do you remember that?
No, I do not.
No, okay. You can just Google Eyjafjallajökull if you can write it.
Okay, I'll get on that right now. I'm typing it as we speak.
Yeah, but it just spewed ass like gases and all over Europe. It kind of looked like Iceland was just farting over Europe. If you look at a video of it,
Just dropping it down on you.
yeah. But that that could happen like on a 10x scale if our biggest volcano will erupt, which is always erupting once every 100 years or so, and now it's a few hours past that. So it could, I think, it affects like crops and everything all over the world and changes the like weather and climate and everything. It's that big of a volcano.
All
It
from
could,
Iceland. I did not know you guys are responsible for all that. So now
yeah,
I know who to blame.
yeah, that mountain is actually called Katla. And when I had CrossFit Station, I named it CrossFit Katla.
Oh, cool.
So
Awesome. I mean, CrossFit in Iceland too. I know we're going to get to talk to this, but
yeah,
the
I
champion
know.
breeder CrossFit,
Hey,
female CrossFitter there for a while. We're just
yeah,
dropping out of Iceland like crazy. And I know on your social media, you've at least met the mountain. I don't know if you're friendly with him, but I saw some pictures of your boy.
yeah.
Um,
It's not very big. I know Hafthor and his friends a little bit, and I mean Anni and me are very old friends, and Katrin as well. Katrin was training at my gym as well before she went to Ben Bergeron. And then Björgvin Karl, he's also
There's so
it's
many.
not,
There's just so many people that come out of Iceland
yeah,
because
yeah,
and it's a lot like what I took from your video and in talking to you. They're very good, but they're very humble. I was able to meet Katrin. I worked CrossFit Medical a few times,
mm,
and I was able to meet her, at one of the contests where she was at, and just watching, her laser focus and her just humbleness out there. I mean, she was winning, she was crushing it, but she just
mhm.
remained that stoic kind of what I now picture as like an Icelandic trait almost. I may ride on the truck these days, but I still keep my original snagger tool by Modus Fire Rescue on me at all times, just in case those guys on the engine need some help moving the line. The snagger is great for that and many more things. It's also great for used for breaking tempered glass or in a pinch as a spanner wrench. So head over to modusfirerescue.com and use code THESIZEUP, one word, to save yourself 5%.
This episode's brought to you by Taylor's Tins. Taylor and his crew at Taylor's Tins have been manufacturing aluminum helmet fronts since 2017. With over 200,000 tins in the market, they are a leader in the helmet front space. Custom design, one-offs to department orders, they can turn them around within 24 to 48 hours. Customer service is what they pride themselves on, and they provide nothing but top-shelf product and service to their customers. Check them out at taylorstins.com and check out their full line of product offering. They've always been a very strong supporter since day one with the National Fire Radio podcast and platform, and Taylor and his crew have become dear friends of ours, and we appreciate the support. And at checkout, for a little extra bonus, use coupon code NFR Sent Me. That's NFR Sent Me for a discount on your order. Exclusions do apply. Anyway, check out taylorstins.com for the latest and greatest offerings from Taylor and his crew. And in the words of Taylor, stop burning up leather.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's kind of weird being from Iceland on a global scale, because you don't feel that big in the world being from Iceland. It's both that it's a small community, so it's easy to make things happen here, like so everybody knows here. So when you go out in the world, you really have this small city mindset where I'll just talk to this guy and I'll just do this and this and this. And you can get used to, you can do everything mindset.
Yep.
So when you go out in the world, it's like you don't think it's that much of a hierarchy and you have to go these steps and know everybody. You just kind of do it. You just go ahead. So it's I don't know. It's I think yeah, you have to you get crushed. Your ego gets crushed very fast in a small community like Iceland, because if you're all about ego, you get all the criticism right back. If you're in a bigger like community like in the States, you can probably be more egoistic and not like feel it as much
Yeah,
from the
because
people
you're
around you.
chasing with everyone else's ego. You know, the ego
Yeah,
keeps
yeah,
growing and growing and growing because everyone else is doing that. Where when you have less people in a different area, you know, that's kind of how you create it's almost like a better person. Like sometimes you feel like there's too
yeah,
many people around you.
yeah. It also creates like the imposter syndrome, where you are shy to be big because you get the feedback so fast.
And you
So
get the
people,
opposite end of it, you know, with that imposter syndrome.
yeah, because you don't want to like make everyone feel like you think you're better than them or something because you're a small community. I don't know, but yeah, actually, the thing with my history and Annie's is a bit. Her background is she went to boot camp where I started as well when I was 26, and boot camp training is before CrossFit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if
It
you meant because I'm like, there's no military. What boot camp? But you mean like a boot camp style of fitness?
Yeah,
Like,
there's three guys. One of them was Evert, who owns CrossFit Reykjavik. Uh, and he and two other, they started this boot camp training, and they went to the States and did this SEAL Adventure Challenge for like 5-day training,
okay.
like
Yep. Yeah, we
like
have a few of them here.
yeah, uh yeah, like they do in the SEAL training,
Yep.
like a short version. I know it was created to make a more positive image of it and hopefully attract people that are into this, like through adventure challenge, and then join the military. But they went on this and they started this boot camp in Iceland, and it was, as soon as I heard of it, I like, okay, this is for me. I went there, and it totally changed who I am. And before it, I had only ran like 3 kilometers. That's like 2
6 miles.
miles or something. No, it's
Oh,
2
3
miles.
kilometers. Oh, less. Sorry, 2 miles. Sorry.
I think it's about 2
I'm
miles.
I'm doing kilos. I was doing the kilo
Yeah,
conversion,
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
the
Yeah,
kilometer conversion. My
yeah,
bad. My bad.
yeah. Yeah, when it's the hardest thing for you in EMT like studies
Oh my
is to
God. Yeah.
learn the millimeters.
When I became a paramedic, just kilos alone, I'm like 2.2 pounds. I have to do math. I'm like, and then you're in millimeters, and then you're in units.
Yeah.
I'm like the
Yeah, all
decimal
the
point.
trucks are in millimeters. That's
Oh
probably the
my God.
hardest thing.
It was it was my hardest part of paramedic training. And then like I had when I would work on the truck, I had like every cheat sheet you can imagine, like every app on my phone. And
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like looking down at my phone, like, don't mind me. I'm just gonna draw up this cardism for you and look at this
yeah.
number to make sure it matches. It
Yeah,
was, I almost wish I had a picture that was like fill the syringe this much for this rhythm.
oh
Just
yeah, yeah.
because we would, I don't know if you now we're gonna get totally off topic, but if you know, as so in America, EMTs don't administer drugs as much as paramedics do, is an easy way to put it.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a huge difference in education and in training. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the place that I was working as a paramedic, because in New Jersey, I couldn't be a paramedic on the fire truck. Again, totally different story. But
Mm-hmm.
we worked for a hospital, and the hospital would constantly be ordering different concentrations of the drugs or different syringes. It was kind of like whichever one they got a better deal on. So
Mm-hmm.
every time I would go work my per diem job, I would like open the bag and be like, wait, what is this syringe? And
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
this syringe? And why is this concentration
yeah.
different? And
Uh-huh.
my mind
Uh-huh.
was just not there. I'm like, I need pictures.
Yeah.
I need like a
Yeah.
fold-out chart or something in front of me. Just a fireman.
Yeah, you could always overdose patients with that kind of mix up.
Yeah, I'd always ask my partner, be like, "Is this right? Let's go." But
Yeah,
anyway, go
yeah,
ahead. So you did your SEAL
yeah.
Fit training.
Yeah, so they had these guys from SEAL Fit come to Iceland, and they did like a 3-day like mini
Yeah, like an intensive.
hell weekend. Yeah,
Yep.
it's like a hell weekend. And in the think it was in the first or second year. Me and Annie were on a boat crew together, and I think, like for me personally, that experience of this Hell Weekend, it changed like the programming in my mind, because it's then that I first like completely finished everything I had, and like I was totally beat, but I could still continue. And like when you get to that mindset where you have nothing left and you're not able to do anything, but you still follow the orders, and because you're a part of a crew, you can't just stop.
Yeah.
Everybody gets punished. Like it's pays to be a winner. Yeah.
That's a
and
huge deal. It pays to be a winner.
yeah, they always said it, and they always like encouraged us to quit, and like it was wet and sandy and all that stuff. So we did that training, and it was after that the weekend, it kind of, I felt I had like less limits for myself.
It's when
And
you push yourself, right? And when you dig deeper. And it's the same thing that we're asked to do in the fire service. We're always asked to dig deeper, and
mhm,
you have to keep pushing yourself to see how much deeper you can dig, I guess.
mhm. Yeah, it doesn't we don't get that many big fires, so it's hard to fish out those who can work like for
Yeah,
real.
I agree.
So you don't quit when you're tired, you quit when it's done.
When it's done, not when you're dead.
Yeah,
You don't quit
yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
tired. You quit when it's done. That's the better
Yeah,
way. I like that one way
that's
better.
true. Yeah, but there's a lot of books that I resonate with, although I have never gone that extreme. But I recommend everybody just read like David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. I never finished both of them. There's also another one by Ross Edgley, um, Art of Resilience. He swam across the British Islands. I
It's
would
really
read that
fun.
one. It's crazy. It's he's like the anti Goggins, but he's still as tough because he's always smiling. And you have to check out Ross Edgley.
It's good because so many people know David Goggins, but I don't know who Ross Edgley is.
Oh,
I'm
you should
excited
check
to
him out.
now to check him out.
Yeah, I love him. But
Backstory: Omar has his own podcast about books and
mhm,
literature. However, it's in Icelandic is your language, correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
So
it,
unless you got a translator, I guess we can't listen.
yeah, it's
I'm gonna
nothing.
try.
I mean, I could do it in English because there's no podcasts that I found that are just two guys interested in. He's my training partner. It was in the show with me, and first it was just I wanted to start a book club, so I started like a group called Barbell Book Club, and we met up a few times and talked about what we were reading and listening to and everything. And after each meeting, we were so inspired by everything that everybody else was reading. So when we met again, we had all read like different stuff and what the others recommended,
Yeah.
and listened to these and that shows and interviews. So I just thought I picked Kolle, my friend, to like podcast studio, and we recorded like books that we have read. So we've done, I don't know, just about 30 episodes. It's just books that if you're reading books and you can't discuss them, you don't catch the value from them. But if you read them and you actually have to talk about them, it's like taking an exam in everything you read. So it's kind of to push myself and him to extract more knowledge from what we're reading, and it's been really fun. And it kind of, it's fun to know that anyone listens to the show, because really I don't care. It's just it's like if you take an exam in something, and it's finished, it doesn't really matter what the outcome is and what scores you get. But I really want to reach more people, because I think especially us guys, we should be reading more to try to improve ourselves, and nobody's going to improve ourselves except ourselves. And if you're not surrounded by people who make you better, you need to inspire yourself with like books that others have written that talk to you.
Well, I think too, and you just kind of said it there, and you're doing it, you're living it. I think a lot of people are doing that reading end, and I think one of the
Mhm.
things we don't do as men is share things. And you said that too in the Modus
Mhm.
documentary they did on you about when you're teaching. You're actually learning when you're teaching,
Yeah,
And it's
true.
something that I love to do. You know, we recently started our own recruit academy. I'm an instructor and I get to work at it occasionally, but I learn from those recruits every time that I teach them. I learn from the guys on my company every time. If I'm the instructor or I'm the student, I'm always
Hmm.
learning. And then I want to share that knowledge. And that's really what I think your message is through the Modus and even through this podcast now is take your knowledge, take everything you have, put it out there to the world and share it. And that's something that we are lacking of. And it's something I like to do with the podcast is try to share a little bit about me, share a little bit
Hmm.
about you. And now together, I mean, I now have another page of notes of things I have to go read, things I want to go back and listen to, but I want
Yeah.
to share that, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I actually considered if I should somewhere share what I'm reading on social media. But like I said before, it's hard to go over the edge to start like sharing to the world what you're thinking. But that's how you learn. You have to push yourself uh out of your own head, um and help make the world better with what you're reading. Because if it sticks with me, it uh should spread out further, because that's the purpose of those who are writing the books and everything. They wanted to get to as many people as they can.
And the other cool part too, because I've been in a few book clubs and I've read a lot and talked to different people though, but you may read something and see it one way. I may read something
Hmm.
and see it another way. And then when we talk about that, we realize we're both right and we learned from each other. Something new that you had
True.
no
Yeah,
idea,
true.
right?
True. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And in the fire service, that's the same type of thing. Like, listen, I know for a fact you guys put out fires differently than we put out fires here in New Jersey,
Yeah.
Iceland. It doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. It means you do it
No.
differently. And I may be
Hmm.
able to take something you do in Iceland and bring it back here to New Jersey and be like, wait till you see what these cats are doing over here. We can do this. And vice
Yeah.
versa. Or
Hmm.
even and I'm gonna mess this word up, but adaptation of it. You know, it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be the exact way you do it there, but I can take what we do and what you do and kind of merge it. And that's
Hmm.
only gonna advance things for all of us.
Yeah, there's a guy called Lars Axelsson. I think he's Swedish or Norwegian. He calls himself yeah, he's Swedish, the Swedish fire nerd on
Okay.
YouTube. And he's been he went here to lecture us, and we had like these new fire trucks with all this different equipment like Cobra cold cut and like CAFs 17 like foam, and different kinds of techniques and tools to use. But he said, this is all crap, because I bet that 90% of you can't even use the nozzle right. And he's been to the States as well, and he's been studying the way they um, operate there and in Europe. And it's been that way for many years in Europe, that we have like we use the like the like the wide way open, like we use the
A
steam to
fog pattern. A
cool,
fog
yeah,
pattern.
fog pattern, yeah. And like shoot in the like gases to cool them down. But in the States you use like
Straight
straight,
bore or a straight
yeah. And
stream.
you,
Straight
yeah,
stream.
straight stream, and you use a pattern to cool the area, which is something that like in Europe it's been like, oh, you don't do that, you don't like we
It's
should
not right.
like
This is how
gas.
we do it this way.
But it's different. But if you use the like fog pattern, you get more steam and you get more heat to you. If you use the straight stream, you cool the walls more, and you prevent like
Oh boy, we're gonna
pleasure and
when the
everything.
folks start listening to this now, I've turned into a tactics podcast, and
No,
it's
I
all
think
going
you should
downhill.
just,
What you just said.
yeah, just check out Lars Axelsson, the Swedish fire nerd, definitely.
I will have
Uh,
to check him out as well. You're
but
giving me all this. It's like homework. It's my first podcast where I've been given so much homework.
I feel like I haven't said anything yet. So but yeah, there's like more that I train a little bit here. We have, do you know Flame Trainer, the
Yeah, I
Australian
saw that in the
VR trainer?
video. Yep, and I got to see it out at FDIC when I was there this year. I didn't get to interact with it, but I
Hmm.
did see folks doing it. So
Yeah, you should try. Everybody says, "How you can't turn on fire with a computer?" It's like you don't fly an airplane if you don't try it in
yeah,
a simulator first. It's
it,
still,
it,
I
it's
mean, it's a new way. It's an addition. Like
yeah.
a lot of experienced firefighters, they say, "Ah, we train in heat, but you can't do that anymore as much. It's harder and
Yeah.
it's more expensive and it takes more time. So this is a very good idea to add to toolbox as a training tool. So I recommend trying it. But as an instructor with Flame Trainer, I try to implement as many lessons that like I can while he's doing the simulation, because it's up to the instructor how good of a training it is. It's not just the tool of the like Flame Trainer, it's how the instructor uses this technology to provide as much learning opportunities as possible. Because you can add like a lot of relevant techniques and skills and ask him about like boiling liquid explosion or hazmat or dangers in the area, or why he's using this pattern and that pattern, just to get the mind in motion, like what's the
I
best
feel
way to do.
I feel like with that too, it's kind of like with a pilot and a simulator. They simulate a water landing because you can't
Mm-hmm.
land a plane in water to practice.
Yeah.
Not a good idea. Like that's pretty
No.
bad. But it would be the same in what you're saying for fire training. In my mind, the first thing that I came to was, putting a firefighter in a fire where they had fire behind them now. And
Mm.
now they have a hand line and they're trapped with fire behind them and they're in a room.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows me to play out that scenario. Am I going to try to put that fire out and get back the way I came?
Mm.
Am I going to say, I'm not putting that fire out and I'm going out the window? Am I going to call a mayday first, or am I going to
Yeah.
attempt to self rescue? I
Mm-hmm.
can put you in all those scenarios right there in a very controlled environment that no one is even going to remotely, unless you fell over, you're not going to get hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
you can process that through your head. Because I think that's something that a lot of people forget, is that, you said it way earlier in the podcast about, we have to make decisions rapidly, but not move fast. That's the
Mm-hmm.
same type of scenario. I have to make a decision and then move fast, but it all has to be rapid. And in a flame trainer, I think it's a great tool for the toolbox because you can do that all day long. Just keep repeating it.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's always fun.
It's like a video
But
game. Who doesn't like playing a video game? I mean, it's not
yeah.
necessarily Call of Duty, but it's kind of like Call of Duty.
They actually added like a computer game in the program, which is like you
Oh
have to
yeah,
like shoot these fireballs, and the main thing with it is it trains you to use the nozzle without looking at it or thinking what you're doing. That's
yeah.
that that's always a plus if you get that training good with the nozzle.
It's just like fitness. The more fitness you can do, the better the healthier you're going to be. The more
Hmm.
fire training you can do, the better firefighter
Yeah,
you're going to be.
it's like the CrossFit mindset is in CrossFit you are supposed to be able to do everything, but you're not going to be the best in anything. In firefighting and just in life in general, you shouldn't be able to you shouldn't go after being the best in something. Like there's a lot of books that recommend that, like the one thing or whatever, but it's better to there's another book called Range by Epstein something, whereas it's those who are most successful in some area in life usually have like a lot of different kinds of experience, like totally different experiences. And when they find their right path, like it could be firefighting, then all the different things you've learned, like from raising kids, having troubles, like working out, technical jobs, whatever, it just kind of you can apply it all in one area and then you become like great at it. So I think with, like you said, with showing up at the gym and like taking your diet and doing everything and win the life in one day, you're bound to fail because it's too high of a standard you're trying to set yourself up with.
Yeah, and
So
you just can't do that. You can't do that in anything in life, whether it's being a
no.
parent, a firefighter, a podcast host. Every
Yeah.
podcast that I record, and I'm thinking you may a little bit be the same way. Like you said, like I don't even think I said anything in this podcast. I'm like, did I waste everybody's hour that was listening to me with this? And then you hear positives about it, and you're like, okay, I didn't do that. Everybody was into it, but you're always thinking that, and it's always that challenge. And you talk a
Hmm.
lot about that in the Modus video. You're always looking for that next challenge. And
Hmm.
sometimes, you talk about that balance and yin yang. And I love how you
Yeah.
say, and I wrote it
Hmm.
down somewhere, like you kind of have chaos between your borders of order and chaos, right?
Hmm.
Like there's
Yeah.
order on one side, there's chaos on the other. Everything in the
Hmm.
middle is just chaos. And I feel like
Yeah,
that's life. It's just chaos. And then
it
there's
is.
order in it, and there's really crazy chaos.
Yeah, it is. Because then I recommend another book is 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson.
Yep,
You
I know
should
that
read
one.
that. And Beyond Order as well. But that philosophy is, I mean, all new knowledge in the books and wisdom and everything today, it's just basic old stuff. It's, you can read the Stoics, and it's the lessons that are completely applied today. Like what Marcus Aurelius was going through in the Rome days way back, and Seneca, that's happening today as well. And it's, we don't have to always look at the newest workout strategy or newest supplement or newest like way of thinking, whatever. You can just, it's all basic stuff. And it's what all religion is about as well. It's be kind, be useful.
It
Don't
all seems very simple, right? We seem to
I'm
convoluted, right? And in everything
yeah.
we do, even
And the mind likes problem. The brain loves problems, because if you have a lot of problems, the brain has a lot to do. But really, you have to like zoom out a little bit and realize that life is always, it's like in the body, it's always going for homeostasis. But if you're only like, if you sleep in an oxygen tent, like with like pure foods all the time, your immune system would go crap. It has to have like agitation. You have to rip the muscle cords for the muscle to grow, everything. But you just have to watch out that the extremes aren't like way up and down. Just have some kind of a balance, but it's not a straight line at all.
No, and that's what am finding as I get older, as I age, as my boys get older too. My boys are a little older than yours. I'm at a 13 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
But watching them grow and interact with other people and learn and play sports and sing in
Mm-hmm.
bands and be in shows, and watching, their peaks and then their extreme lows, and then they're like almost homeostasis, which, everybody
Mm-hmm.
tried to get to, but we're probably never going to get there. And then I
we
compare
wouldn't we
that.
wouldn't feel good there.
Yeah. And I compare that to my younger firefighters, which I hate to say that, like, I've been there for 20 years. Like, I look around and I'm the old guy now. And and they may not be much younger than me, but young on the job. But
Yeah.
their highs and lows. We have a recruit class in now. I was in command at a fire the other day, and they came up to help us pack hose. So I spoke to them my last shift just about, what the fire was about. Because I was like, you guys were there, you got there late, but do you have questions? And just taking their questions, and some of them were like this to me and you, the
Yeah.
simplest thing that you're like, wait, you just asked that, but they've never
Mm-hmm.
experienced that. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't be like, oh, hey, dummy, don't ask that question, because it was a really good question for them. I have
Yeah.
to explain it to them, and their enthusiasm for some of the simplest questions, I love, and I eat that up. And that again
Mm-hmm.
is that kind of, that's chaos. To me, that's the
Mm-hmm.
chaos I want to be involved in. I don't want to be in the really far right wing or really far left wing chaos, let's call it. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be in that nice middle area that I can control.
Yeah, because you can learn for both sides. If you don't, even if you never argue with someone with the opposite opinion, you never learn if your opinion is what you truly believe or not. Because if you only talk to people who have the same beliefs, you don't know if it's your beliefs or something that's just there. You have to I mean, you have to learn to um agree to disagree with something,
Yep,
to
that's a
know
great way
it's
to say it, right?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
never going to agree with everyone. We're never going to have the same opinion. No two people will. But once you learn to agree to disagree, God, I have so many good names for this podcast too. You're like, here I am thinking we're going to talk about CrossFit, and we're going to talk about Iceland, and like
Yeah,
I
we could.
wanted to like sneak in my trip there, and we even get to talk about the police and fire games you put on, and
Oh yeah. That's good.
crazy. I didn't tell you this, but I was at the LA police and fire games.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that was
I was at
fun.
the CrossFit event that was there
I was
most of
gonna
the
go
time.
do that. It was the first CrossFit event for the games,
Yep.
but my friend was going to the toughest competitor live, and he was
Okay.
gonna train for that. And I thought, okay, should I do the CrossFit thing, which I know, or train with somebody because I would have been alone for our department in the CrossFit games. But I thought, if I go to the toughest competitor, I'll have to learn like shot put and 100-meter sprints and rope climbing on hands and everything. Uh, but So I thought maybe it's more fun to prepare for an event with somebody than alone. So I would have wanted to do the CrossFit event, definitely.
It was really cool. That was a cool event. I think the only thing that kind of that sucked about it, not to talk bad about things like that, but it was just so spread out. Like there was like stuff everywhere. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they didn't have much time to prepare. It was supposed
Yeah.
to be in Canada, of course.
Yeah, and they made a switch or something. But it's just crazy when you said you were there. I'm like, I was there. Like this is just such a big small world.
Yeah, are you going to Canada this year?
I do
Vancouver?
not believe so, but anything's always possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be the States in 2 years.
Yeah, they're coming back this way. I know. I think in between it was I can't even remember because it's hard to keep track. There's just so
Yeah, I
many.
was in Rotterdam,
Rotterdam.
Netherlands.
That was the
Yeah,
one that I wanted to go to. I'm like, I want to go to that one because I want to go to Rotterdam.
yeah,
Go to the
yeah. Then I was in the Ultimate Firefighter there. It was fun.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Dude, well, as we're getting close to our hour time limit that I like to keep these things at, and this totally went in ways I never thought it was gonna, and it's been an epic conversation. So you're definitely gonna have to come back on, but we're trying to finish these things up with the size up 10. And
Okay.
the goal is to hit 10 questions in about 90 seconds. So it's kind of like quick answers. Some may be a little longer and take, as much time as you need to answer them. But the goal is I'm just going to keep rapid fire in these 10 questions and we'll kind of see where it pans out. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, you ready to rock?
Yeah.
Here we go. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Night out or night in?
uh Depends on what is. It's not for partying. It's if it's not for like challenge or workout, I'm in. But I mean, then I would go out, but otherwise with the
Yeah,
family night in. Yeah.
I know this answer. Good book or good movie?
Good book.
Obviously. Cross country road trip. Who you taking as your co-pilot?
Cross country road trip. I would take my wife. It would be fun. But
See, now you remembered her.
only thing is that we don't have the same taste in music, so music is good fuel for me. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I would take her. That's a common interest, fitness
She's
and
not the
traveling.
DJ. She's just the co-pilot.
Yeah,
Uh,
we don't
I know
need
this
music.
answer
It's
too. I
nice.
guarantee I know this answer. Do you make your bed every day?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's a good speech actually.
You read that book and heard the speech.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$1 million or go back to when you were 18 with a redo.
I don't need to go back to 18 because I think I would have very much use for $1 million. I don't have that. I don't think I would do better again. I think it's
Awesome.
okay right now.
Everything's good. Take the money.
I
Take
did
the money.
I did a lot of screw ups, but I can use 1 million better today than if I was 18, if that would be the question.
Highway or back roads? Which ones do you take?
Is it highway or back roads
Like an
in
expressway or like a back road? This is very American. I have to change this up for international guests.
okay, okay.
The expressway or like side streets? I don't know.
I usually go the harder way.
Okay, so that would be
More
back
difficult. Yeah.
back roads for sure. Highway is super easy. Your bucket list place to visit. Where do you want to go?
I just actually want to travel more around Iceland because there's so much things to see here and do. I would just take a like backpack trip and road trip and running. I ran a lot in the country as well, so probably travel Iceland more with my boys and everything. But if I were to go somewhere, me and my wife, she was in like exchange student for half year in Italy, and we lived there then. So I think the Italian way of mindset is healthy for Icelanders, which are in more extreme, more in a hurry, more like intense. I think I would want to live somewhere, not one country specifically, somewhere where life is calmer and more like in the now than in Iceland.
Where they take naps at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and everything shuts down. That was the amazing part of Italy. I'm like, I'm gonna lay down now because nothing's open, so I can lay down too.
Yeah.
All right. Two more questions. Football or football?
You mean soccer or football?
Oh, so you guys call it soccer too? I guess.
No, we don't. We
Oh,
call
okay,
it
okay.
we
Yes,
call
I
it
mean
football.
soccer by football or football.
I mean, uh, okay. With the thing with me, I have for me the most valuable resource is time. So I don't watch a lot of sports.
Okay.
I would rather do something than sit and watch sports. But I watch like national competition in like what you call soccer, but football in Europe.
Football. Okay, good
Yeah,
enough.
so I watch that if it's the big games or my kid playing or something. But otherwise, I don't really watch many sports unless it's just
I'm kind
on
of
while
on
I have
that
nothing
page
to
too.
do.
I'd rather do
Yeah.
it than watch it, and I just don't have the time. And we don't even talk about time. All right, one more question. We got to keep going with the questions here. Best advice you could give to your younger self?
Uh, Definitely just have more belief in your ideas. Don't doubt yourself so much. And that's something I I imagine 20-year older myself would tell myself today as well.
I was
Just
thinking that as well because it's something that I think we all do and we all could be better at. So
yeah,
that
we just have to accept that
part,
human,
that's the
like
hard part.
that ego judging you thing.
I feel like we should do a podcast just you and I. I think we could do like an Iceland America type, something or another. There's something that we can connect with, and that's why I wanted to have you on because when I saw your video, I talked to the guys from Modus, and I'm like, this dude he's got so much more depth than just this 10-minute video. Um, and I'm so thankful for having you on today, Omar. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful for you inviting me because I'm just a guy in Iceland with his kids and his work. So if somebody wants to listen to me and hear
Ramble
that,
on
that's
about every book
fine,
to read, and you're in, like you're
fine
there.
by me. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, again, I want to thank you for coming on today. I want to thank our friends at Modus for sponsoring this episode and for introducing us. Everybody, I want you to go and check them out at modusfirerescue.com. Also, head over to YouTube and check out Modus Fire Rescue there. You could see Omar's amazing video of him, like
Mhm.
literally swimming. How cold was that water that you jumped into that day?
Yeah, it's usually it's called art when we do diving here. It's Arctic diving. It's always like 5 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it's
Oh, that's a
Fahrenheit.
whole see these guys. New rule with international guests. I need all the
You
conversion
need the
charts
cheat
in front
sheet.
of
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
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 total
yeah.
conversion charts in front of me. I think that's 5 degrees Celsius is like probably like
I
50-ish degrees. I think. I don't know.
I have no idea, but it's cold. I mean, if it's 0 degrees, it's frozen, right?
Okay, so that would be 32 for us. So you're probably like in the 50s or so, whatever the conversion is, 50s, 60s or so. It's cold. That's all it comes down
Whatever.
to. But you look
Yeah,
like you jumped in and you had a great time. So
yeah. I ocean swimming is very. I love it when I do it because just you're free. You're in the ocean. The ocean doesn't care about you if you drown or not. Doesn't matter. You're alone, and it's just you and the elements. You couldn't get more grounded than that. I love it.
that's so amazing. And that is a great way to end. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you to Modus. This is Pip for the Size Up by National Fire Radio, and we will catch you guys next time.
National Fire Radio.